done with it? The answer is we don't necessarily know, except that it provides opportunity for people to think and to create, to look at this resource and to figure out how they can make the lives of Madisonians better and at the same time utilize their entrepreneurial spirit in terms of developing something useful, productive, and hopefully profitable for themselves and for our community. We are not the first community to do this. We obviously won't be the last. But this is just one of many steps that we'll be taking in the future. Sometimes the public sector alone, sometimes the private sector alone, sometimes in partnership, which is designed to improve quality of life, to make Madison a better place, and to help and grow not just an economy, but our knowledge base. In his introduction, Chris mentioned that this is a place where a lot of things are done, including the involvement of young people. I really want to emphasize that point in terms of who can utilize this information. I don't think my original description of Sector 67 is accurate, but I once described it as this is where the guys who hung out working on hot rods met the computer geeks who met one particular person who specializes in knitting machines, and we don't know what's going to come of that. Well, for the young people in our community, and I guess I'm talking about anybody who's either under the age of 30 or has the imagination to be under the age of 30, this is really valuable space. This is an opportunity to share and to learn and to become engaged in thinking with other people. And one of the things that Sector 67 does, one of the things that our open source is going to do, is provide opportunity for folks who couldn't otherwise do it alone at home in their basements. So with that, Alder Scott Resnick is next. Mm-hmm. And I just want to introduce him by saying that he's been pushing and prodding for this day to arrive.
So my job here is to explain what exactly open data is. So the city of Madison collects records all the time. Pretty much, if you just think of what we collect records on, some of them are really easy. It's things like crime statistics, it's pet licenses, it's vacancies in housing, it's property data. Really, the city collects almost a plethora of information that city employees use to make their jobs a little bit easier every single day. What open data is, the open data movement, is taking those records that were otherwise the taxpayers are paying for and making them available to the public for free. So what we're doing here is actually creating data sets for developers to basically do whatever they want with. So what ended up happening is in June, the Common Council actually passed the nation's second open data ordinance, which actually codifies our city's policy on data, the first one in the state. So what you're looking at right here is just one innovative way that a group of developers decided to use these data sets. This is featured right now on Madison.com and is a daily synopsis of every crime that happens in Madison over the course of 15 minutes. So if you're looking at it, right now we're at night, we'll go circle back through, not as much is happening. We're now in the afternoon, right now we're running through October right now, really, really, really quickly. Other ideas that could come out of this are iPhone applications, our Android apps, our new web applications, basically available many times for free to the Madison public. And it's these data sets that actually allow developers to make it for free. there's an economic model here, but there's also an image here. It's a new image of Madison as a modernized community, as a forward-thinking community, not only in our practices, but how we treat technology. So some of the really exciting things that I hope to pass off, first to Paul, and then over to Greg Tracy from Hacking Madison, who's built many of these apps on his own, and hopefully these kind of products will help accelerate some of the Madison-based products that we all will hopefully be able to use here in the future. So with that, Paul?
I just want to add a few comments on what we've done here. So you've heard about the Open Data Ordinance, and you've heard about some of the reasons why that was initiated and passed by the City Council. What we've done here is implemented a tool to help publish this data. So we have a portal that you can link to off of our city website. And we have an initial number of data sets that are out there. So we worked with some of the city agencies to put some out there. We'll be adding a lot more to that and adding to it continuously. So what we have is an initial set of about 14 or so. It contains both data sets and also APIs, application programming interfaces, if you aren't familiar with the acronym. And that an API would allow for access to data that's updated and made current on a regular basis. And so this is now available to the public, to any developer that wants to use it or anybody else. And it's available on a self-service basis. You don't have to request it. You don't have to make any type of formal request for it. Just go to the City of Madison website, go to the link to the data portal, and see what's out there and take what you want, download what you want, and do what you want with it. Hopefully build some interesting applications. So this basically is the tool that helps us implement the Open Data Portal. It includes data that's actually currently available on the website, but this is a different version of that data. It's the raw data, so it can be used by programmers. And we also are open to suggestions for any other type of city data that you'd like to see out there in the near future. So we certainly, if there's a demand for certain types of data, we'd be happy to know about that, work with the city agencies, and try to get that out there as soon as possible. So again, with that, I will turn it over to either Greg or Greg is next. Greg, please. Thank you.
My name is Greg Tracy. By day, I'm the co-founder and CTO of a local startup called Madison, the disease management platform for asthma. And in my spare time, I like to hack on civic projects. And I think the whole tech community right now, as you can't hear them, they are applauding the city right now. Because I think there's general excitement and enthusiasm. So I think the mayor, Scott, for making this reality. And what I want to do just real quick is walk through a couple of examples of the types of things that can be generated. And I think the key thing to keep in mind here is that it's best not to try to get all the ideas down on paper and then release data. The key is to release the data and then wait for the creativity to find great, useful things to do with that data. And so here's one that this is not an app that I built. This was originally deployed in Boston. And was open sourced by an organization called Code for America. And the idea here is it's civic engagement around fire hydrants. So you can go to your local fire hydrant and you can adopt it. So you can raise your hand and you say, when the snow comes, I'm going to go shovel that fire hydrant out so that it's safer for my neighbors, it's safer for the fire department, and they have fast access to the water when an emergency occurs. So there's no binding agreement here. This is not something that somebody's going to come give you a ticket for. It's simply a way for you to engage with your neighbors and for the city and to volunteer in a different way. The other example I want to show is a little bit closer to my heart because it's something that I started to work on several years ago. And that was, I was sat at the bus stop because I ride the bus every day, and I didn't know if I missed it yet. So I wanted to send a text message and figure out where my bus was. And so I wrote that app. It initially was just an SMS interface. And then smart people like Preston said, oh, well, we need better access to this information. So I took what the city provided, and I created a wrapper around that to basically create a programmer's interface so that programmers could then take the city's data and create all kinds of fun, creative things. So people have created iPhone apps. The University of of Wisconsin has deployed their own app that gives you real-time arrival estimates for the buses around the city. There's an Android app. You can check in and become mayor of a bus stop via Foursquare, and it'll tell you when your bus is coming. I don't think it's running right now, but there's a display around the corner that shows basically real-time arrival estimates for the buses that are coming down in the neighborhood of Sector 67. I think you'll start to see more and more of those displays around town. Around town. And so right now on the API that's been built by the Hackney Madison community, there are 35 active developers, and we get anywhere between 400,000 and 500,000 transit requests per month. So that's anything from a student trying to figure out where their bus is to a kiosk hanging at Mother Fool's displaying when the next bus is going to arrive. So there's 500,000 transit requests coming into this service every single month. So there's a site here called Hackney Madison. The original intention here was just to try to help organize the tools, organize the developers, and the data sets. I think we need to somehow partner up with the city here because the city has now opened up a lot more data. And so the developers are excited to start attacking that data and come up with some creative applications. That's all I have.
Yep. Is there any questions or anything we can answer for anybody?
All right, I'm going to just tell you what I'm looking for.
Okay. let's see what we can build.
All right, it's estimated that maybe only 15, at most 15 to 20% of Madison's pets are registered. Now, what's the process? The process is you have to get your rabies shot proof, you have to get your proof of neutering or spaying, you have to get the application, and write out the check, you get the form, mail it in, and most people don't do it. Now, if you want to buy a medication for your pet online, what you can do is you can go online, you can shop, purchase it, list your veterinarian, and you don't have to worry about getting that prescription. It's taken care of between the vendor and your vet. Why can't we have an app where you can identify Rover, put in the information about Rover, apply for your license, do it with a debit or a charge card, and from the city treasurer's office to your vet is the communication that automatically provides the proof of the rabies shot, the neutering, or the spaying. Then it's not only easier for everyone, we will get more compliance, more revenues for the city. I like that.
We can go do it.
Please.
These are the kind of ideas that we're receiving almost on a daily basis.
That wasn't my idea, by the way.
That one was not.
That came from a hacker who wanted access to the state.
Yeah. So feel free to catch us for questions afterwards, or if you have any questions about the space that you're in, Chris is more than welcome to give anybody a tour if you want to know more about Sector 67.
And I just want to say that this is probably one of the